Hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today let's learn about the writer Howard Jacobson. Howard Jacobson, born in 1942. Full name is Howard Eric Jacobson. He was born in Manchester, England. Jacobson was born to parents of Russian Jewish descent. He was raised in Prestwich, a suburb of Manchester, in a neighborhood that was half Jewish and half not. Jacobson has remarked on the impact of being born during wartime, stating that, "I was born in 1942 in Manchester with the bombs dropping around me. There is a sort of feeling that this has affected me in some way, a certain turbulence in my character." He attended Stan Grammar School in Whitefield, Greater Manchester. He studied English at a Downing College, Cambridge, under the tutelage of renowned literary critic F.R. Lewis, graduating with a 2:2 degree. Academic positions: lecturer at the University of Sydney from 1965 to 68, supervisor at Selwyn College, Cambridge 1969 to 1972, senior lecturer at Wolverhampton Polytechnic from 1974 to 1980. Personal life: marriages: married Barbara Starr, then Rosalind Sadler, then Jenny Dia. Children include: Jacobson has a son from one of his marriages. He resides in London. Literary career: fiction. Jacobson's novels are known for the comic style and exploration of Jewish identity. His notable works include: first one, Coming From Behind, 1983, a campus novel satirizing academic life. The next work, The Mighty Balza, 1999, semi-autobiographical, focusing on a teenage table tennis champion in 1950s Manchester. The next work, Kaluki Nights, 2006, described by Jacobson as the most Jewish novel that has ever been written by anyone anywhere. The next one, The Finkler Question, 2010, is the winner of Man Booker Prize. It explores Jewish identity, friendship, and a loss. The next work, J, published in 2014, shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize, a dystopian novel examining memory and identity. The next one, Shylock Is My Name, 2016, a modern retelling of Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice, focusing on themes of anti-Semitism and identity. The next work, What Will Survive of Us, 2024, centers on an adulterous affair between two middle-aged characters, exploring themes of desire, love, and sexual complications. His non-fiction works. Jacobson has also penned several non-fiction works. The first one, In the Land of Oz, 1987, a travelogue based on his experience in Australia. The next work, Roots Schmutz, Journeys Among Jews, 1993, explores Jewish identity and culture. The next work, Whatever It Is, I Don't Like It, 2011, is a collection of his columns and essays. The next work, Mother's Boy, A Writer's Beginnings, 2022, a memoir reflecting on his journey as a writer and his upbringing. His writing style and themes. Jacobson's writing is characterized by comic realism. He blends humor with the serious themes, often exploring the complexities of Jewish identity. Intellectual prose. His works are known for the philosophical undercurrents and literary allusions. Recurring themes include Jewish identity and diaspora, masculinity and sexual anxiety, memory and history, particularly concerning the Holocaust, anti-Semitism and self-hatred, love, aging and death. Honors and awards include Man Booker Prize in 2010 for the work The Finkler Question, and shortlisted for Man Booker Prize in 2014 for the work J. Then a Bollinger Everyman Waterhouse Prize for Comic Fiction, and a 1999 for The Mighty Walzer, and a 2013 for Zoo Time. Then a J.Q. Wingate Prize 2007 for Kaluki Nights. He is the Fellow of the Royal Society of Literature, recognized for his contribution to literature. Now, Howard Jacobson's journalism and broadcasting include, first, as a columnist. Jacobson contributed a weekly column to The Independent, offering trenchant and witty observations on contemporary issues. Television. He presented Howard Jacobson Takes on the Turner 2000. Then Why the Novel Matters in 2002 on Channel 4. He also hosted Jesus the Jew, the first episode of Christianity A History 2009. Then a radio. Appeared on BBC Radio 4's Desert Island Disc in 2011, sharing his musical performances and personal anecdotes. Now, Howard Jacobson's political and social engagements. His advocacy. Jacobson is a vocal critic of rising anti-Semitism and has written extensively on the subject, including pieces for the New York Times. Public debates. Participated in debates on religious and cultural topics, such as the Intelligence Squared debate on anti-Christian sentiment in Britain. Now some of the rare contributions and facts. He's a late bloomer. Jacobson published his first novel at the age of 41. He's a ping-pong enthusiast. His teenage passion for table tennis inspired the work The Mighty Walzer. Now self-description. Howard Jacobson has referred to himself as a Jewish Jane Austen. He is highlighting his focus on social manners and the intricacies of relationships. Television documentaries. His non-fiction books such as Roots, Shoots Moths, and is Seriously Funny were adapted into television series. He said, I write because I hate a lot. I hate injustice, cruelty, prejudice. I hate sentimentality. I hate the exploitation of the weak. I hate people who are certain. He also said that I'm a comic writer. That doesn't mean I make jokes. It means I see things comically. Now let's analyze the famous works written by Howard Jacobson. First one, The Finkler Question. Winner of the Man Booker Prize. This novel explores Jewish identity, friendship, and the complexity of anti-Zionism. The story revolves around Julian Treslau, a non-Jewish man obsessed with Jewishness, and his two Jewish friends, Sam Flinker and Leiba Savsik. Through their entangled lives, the novel delves into grief, belonging, and the tensions between personal and political affiliations. The next work, Kaluki Nights, 2006. This novel is a dark comic examination of Jewish life in a post-war Manchester and the trauma of the Holocaust. The protagonist, named Max Glickman, a cartoonist, attempts to understand the psychology of a fellow named Jew Manny Washniewski, who murdered his own parents. The novel probes collective memory, cultural guilt, and the burden of Jewish history with a biting wit. The next work, J, 2014, shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize. J is a dystopian novel set in a future society that has deliberately erased a catastrophic historical event referred to only as what happened if it happened. The main character, named Kebon or Coco Cohen and Alin Solomons, struggle to understand the identities in a culture where memory and truth are forbidden. The novel is a haunting exploration of genocide, repression, and the dangers of historical amnesia. The next work, Shylock is My Name, 2016. Part of the Hoggett Shakespeare series, this novel is a reimagining of The Merchant of Venice set in contemporary Chaldea. Shylock converses with the character Simon Truswich, a wealthy philanthropist grappling with his daughter's romantic life and a cultural betrayal. Jacobson uses the retelling to examine anti-Semitism, forgiveness, and the meaning of mercy and justice. The next work, The Mighty Balza, 1999, a semi-autobiographical coming-of-age novel, retells the story of Oliver Balza, a ping-pong prodigy in a 1950s Manchester. As he grows into adulthood, Oliver struggles with a love, ambition, and the constraints of his Jewish upbringing. The novel is rich in humor and in nostalgia, focusing on adolescence, identity, and the peculiar world of table tennis. The next work is Zoo Time, 2012. This comic novel centers on novelist Guy Abelman, who is in love with both his wife and his mother-in-law, while also lamenting the death of literature. Through Abelman's chaotic personal life and literary frustrations, Jacobson mocks publishing trends, authorial anxiety, and a cultural decline. It is both a satire and a lament for the fate of serious fiction in a frivolous age. The next work, Live a Little, 2019, a late-life love story between Beryl Duseberry, a lively, sharp-tongued 90-something woman with a selective memory, and another character named Shimi Kamelli, a charming nonagenarian bachelor. The burgeoning romance is filled with philosophical music, humor, and reflections on memory, regret, and the endurance of desire. The novel is a celebration of aging and the resilience of the human spirit. The next work, Coming From Behind, 1983, is Jacobson's debut novel, follows the character Sefton Goldberg, an underachieving lecturer at a provincial university struggling with inferiority and a cultural identity. The novel humorously portrays academic life, Jewish neurosis, and a British social class. It sets the tone for Jacobson's career-long engagement with intellectual insecurity and a cultural displacement. The next work, Peeping Tom, 1984. This metafiction novel interweaves the narrator, that is Barney Fuggelman's obsession with a 19th century writer, Thomas Hardy, with his own troubled life. Through narrative parody and literary obsession, Jacobson explores the line between life and literature. It is a critique of romantic idealism and the distortions of literary identification. The next work, Red Back, 1986, set in Australia, the novel features the character Marvin Craigman, a British academic embroiled in campus politics and a personal betrayal. As he navigates cultural alienation and a midlife crisis, Marvin encounters darker sides of ambition and erotic entanglement. The novel critiques intellectual pretensions, identity, and a post-colonial anxiety. The next work, The Very Model of a Man, 1992. An ambitious reimagining of the biblical character Cain and Abel's story, told from Cain's perspective as he reflects on his life. Cain becomes a metaphor for the struggle between creation and destruction, identity and otherness. The novel explores myth, guilt, masculinity with a philosophical and a psychological depth. The next work, No More Mr. Nice Guy, 1998. The story follows the character Frank, a TV sexologist navigating moral chaos and a media sensationalism. As he balances professional disillusionment with the personal loneliness, the novel mocks the commodification of sex and intimacy. It is a critique of modern sexuality, voyeurism, and emotional detachment. The next work, Who is Sorry Now, 2002. In this novel, the protagonist named Marvin Craigman, reappearing from the book Red Back, is a man consumed by bitterness towards his ex-wife and her new husband. As he tries to sabotage their lives, his own psychological flaws are laid bare. The novel dissects male insecurity, revenge, and the fear of irrelevant with Jacobson's signature irony. The next work, Mother's Boy, A Writer's Beginnings, 2022. This is Jacobson's memoir, exploring his childhood in post-war Manchester, his mother's influence, and his development as a writer. It is an introspective, often a humorous reflection on a memory, creativity, and their identity. The book reveals the autobiographical roots of his fiction and his enduring preoccupation with a Jewishness and a language. The next work, Whatever It Is, I Don't Like It, 2011, a collection of Jacobson's newspaper columns that recover politics, culture, and literature with a wit and intellectual sharpness. There is a showcase his constraints views and refusal to conform to intellectual or ideological trends. It is a testament to his role as a public intellectual and a cultural critic.